This is Greg Troutwine with Maritime Reporter TV. We're here today with Søren Andersen, the CEO of Stormgeo. And Søren, to start, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity, Greg.
Okay. So Søren, you joined Stormgeo as CEO in 2019. Why did you join Stormgeo? What was compelling at the time that you thought that this was a good opportunity?
Yeah, it's what I saw in Stormgeo was basically a company that had the opportunity to enrich the shipping industry, I want to say, with advanced digital competencies. I've been in shipping for 20 years, more than 20 years, actually 23. And I've always viewed shipping as a fairly conservative industry. We are a boom or bust type of industry where either we make tons of money and nobody has the time to really think a lot, or the reason to think a lot about innovation and technology, or we are in dire straits, not making any money, which means we can't really invest much in innovation and technology. So that has led to a fairly technologically conservative business. We've seen over the past, I want to say 5 years, that more and more startups have focused on that. That is an opportunity indeed to use technology to change the shipping industry. And if you see some of the big consultancies, they are also saying that the biggest opportunity in advanced analytics and digital transformation is in fact in transportation, because we are behind the curve. So what I saw was a company that had all the prerequisites to help that change. And when I say change and help, I'm also thinking climate-wise, because every time, of course, you know, I was heading up the Maersk fuel saving initiatives back in 2008 to 2012, a time where we were saving so much money and emissions from being more efficient. And there's so much opportunity for doing that in the rest of the industry too. And in my opinion, Stormgeo is one of the companies that can help that change happen. Okay. So that was why. I feel, you know, it's my dream job, and I feel lucky every day that I can contribute in a company like this, because I really do think that it's time for the industry to move up the curve in a sense, and we can help with that.
Just to give us a little scope, can you give me a by the numbers look at Stormgeo by any metrics that you choose?
Yeah, I mean, we're a Norwegian company. We have a revenue of more than 700 million Norwegian kroner a year, and a good 65% of that comes from the shipping industry. 35% comes from all other kinds of industries, notably offshore, oil production, offshore renewables, but also hospital chains, insurance companies, all kinds of industries that use the weather, or whether weather has an impact on their business systems. And of course, with climate change, weather has more and more of an impact because it becomes more and more extreme. But the absolute major part of our business is in shipping, 65%, as I said. Then our footprint in shipping is actually different things, but all related to the same overall purpose, and that is to reduce emissions, to reduce fuel consumption, to save money for our clients, to keep people and cargo safe. That's what we do. How do we do that then? Different tools. Weather routing is one very important one. We route 65,000 voyages a year, which is more than any shipping company can do on their own. So obviously that turns us into a kind of expert in routing. But we also have very important software solutions for optimizing ship performance, which will of course also help on consumption. So that's a bit. We have 24 offices around the world. We have 24/7, 365 operational centers. We have a lot of people employed. We're more than 500 people. And the reason for that is that we provide a very personalized service. I do like this because it's on the phone. We call up our customers to help them monitor their ships. We have alert services. So we in that sense, some of the shipping companies are outsourcing quite a lot of their operations to us.
But in your field, how does Stormgeo, how do you differentiate yourself?
That's a great question. our differentiation comes from creating a platform, in a sense. We are putting together different disciplines into one common shared platform. And when I say common and shared, what I'm talking about is that the ship, the chief engineer and the captain, the navigator on the ship, has the same shared reality as his superintendent on shore, as his vessel operator in the office, and even as the chartering department, so that we are all now looking at the same operational picture. We have many competitors, but I don't see any competitor having the same integrated solution as we have. So that means, efficiency is really all about human behavior. If we behave efficiently, we will become efficient. So our platform helps drive that efficient behavior, both on the ship, where the captain can much easier plan his voyage and save money. We can help him with that on shore with experts who have tried it 50 times a day instead of once every month. But we also have the software tools that can make the superintendent say, hey, wait, I need to hull clean this one because she's not doing what she was supposed to be doing fuel-wise. So I think that unique combination of insights is probably what's our claim to fame.
Okay. So, I mean, ultimately, you are a technology company. So in a fast-moving, technologically evolving society, what do you consider the biggest challenge to stay ahead?
I think the biggest challenge is really well, it's actually not a big challenge. It's taking those small steps. Instead of saying, no, we've always done it like this, we'll stay with the business, the things that we know. It is really taking some fairly small steps to say, no, we do want to change our operations. It sounds very easy to say, but for many companies, I think there's a conservatism that really should be challenged. I mean, of course, you have the big companies out there. We've seen Maersk launch their zero carbon shipping foundation, I think it is. So there's a lot of things happening, but you don't have to be Maersk to reduce your emissions. You don't have to be Maersk to become much more efficient. And that's actually why we exist, because we offer smaller companies who don't have those sorts of resources a very simple and straightforward way to access those efficiencies, to get more efficient, to reduce fuel consumption. You don't have to install any hardware on your ship to use our services. We can basically download and switch on overnight, more or less. So we can work with any systems that's on board the ship already. So it's very low barriers to entry. Of course, we're seeing great growth rates. That's super good. I mean, we're selling a lot. That's fine. But I think there's many companies that still can take the step of saying, no, I do want a challenge here and get better and more efficient. And nowadays, we can also calculate what is the return of investment, actually. If you use our software, if you use our solutions, we can show you how quick they're paid back from savings in fuel, mainly.
Where are we on this curve of ship owners, big, small, and everywhere in between, adopting the types of solutions that you discuss?
I think we're still early in the curve. I think there are many companies that can still apply these methods. I think we're seeing a few companies, very, very few, that are very advanced and are developing their own systems and have been doing that for 20 years, almost at least 10 to 15 years. So they are obviously down a road where they have done a lot of investment in their own infrastructure. But I think there's a lot of companies that are using part of our services, for example, who could really benefit from taking the next step, expanding the portfolio a little bit, and thereby save another 3 or 5% on their fuel bill. But of course, I mean, our customer base is actually it's not the same type of customer that we have. We have a lot of charterers as our customers. We have vessel operators, and we also have ship owners. We cater to all of those. And because we're hardware, we don't have any hardware restrictions. It's very easy for us to cater to those different types of customers.
Okay.
In some segments, they're ahead. I think the container industry has been focused on this for a long time, obviously because the ship owner is often also the operator, so there's no conflict of interest. But I think in the other segments, bulkers and tankers, there's still a lot to be done. We can become much better.
When you look at the industry, what do you see as the trends and the challenges that are driving StormGeo?
The biggest challenge, I think, is for the industry to stay ahead of regulatory pressure. We are now, and have been for many years, reacting to regulations. And if we don't change that, those regulations are going to be more and more draconic, I want to say. I think the sulfur regulations from IMO, the impact that had on the industry, the uncertainty that introduced for a long while, just with respect to scrubbers and fuel availability, that shows why we can't in shipping afford to be behind, to be reactive. We need to get in front. We need to show the regulators that we're taking our responsibility seriously with respect to reducing CO2 emissions. We have to do that. Otherwise, we will always be under pressure from regulatory bodies to change in ways that may not fit us or fit the consumer even in the best way. So that's why I think we need to own up and start changing. And one of the things we can help with there is illustrating how shipping companies become better. Because we help measure and quantify the savings of CO2 and fuel that we obviously do. And we can issue reports to our customers that show them how much better they have become. And that's, of course, something that'll then show that shipping is indeed a responsible citizen. So I think that's the biggest challenge. I think the Corona situation, in a sense, has shown that shipping was remarkably resilient, which was a positive surprise to me. So I do think it's the regulatory side that is our pain point.
Can you discuss with me how StormGeo is investing to meet the industry challenges and to ensure your future?
Yes, as I said before, creating a platform where you have multiple data sources coming in and multiple different views of what's going on in your shipping system. That's not a small job to do. So we have, more than 50 developers constantly building this and working on this platform to make it even better. And that's what we're doing now. We're launching the first products. That we actually launched the first product earlier this month, and there'll be other material products being launched over the next couple of months on that platform. So that's super exciting for all of us in StormGeo, and I surely hope our customers will also feel excited about that. Of course, the next mission is then to add to that platform, to make sure that it becomes better and better, and in a sense, more and more holistic. There's no doubt in my mind that, with the data that are now available, there will be a convergence so that some platforms will become the ones we all go to. You go to it because you're a reporter working in the industry. I go to it because I'm a supplier to the industry. Cargo owners go to it because they want to see what's happening with prices of commodities, for example. That is going to happen. And the people that succeed are the people that are involved and being part of that. So in the near term, we want to build more modules on our platform, for example, to help with waste management, for example, which is an obvious, again, from regulatory perspective, thing we need to do. But in time, what about port productivity? What about the interface between ships and ports? There's a big gain to be had there if we can make that work more efficiently.
But when you look at COVID-19, can you discuss first and foremost how it has materially impacted your business?
It's, of course, COVID-19 was an extreme surprise for all of us. We were not prepared as an industry or globally, I guess. As I said before, I've actually been positively surprised about shipping's resilience throughout the Corona crisis. Dry cargo was entered the year in a pretty bad state and is now improving. Containers have been able to make money even with drops in cargo volumes. which is very impressive. And I think the activity is quite good now again, or better at least. And tankers had a run because the oil price was dropping and the curve was in contango, and suddenly everybody needed storage, right? Which was also a positive. So I think the industry has fared quite well through a 100-year crisis. Normally, shipping is the early indicator of stuff going wrong, but I think we've, as an industry, done remarkably well. I think for us, we are a technology company. Almost from day one, all 500 of us went to our home offices. We worked from home, and to a large extent, we still are. And what's amazing to me is that I have not seen a single operational hiccup because of that.
How do you think you'll come out stronger? How do you think you'll come out different? What has this shown you that you can kind of take to the other side?
Yeah, I think it's, well, it certainly has shown us in a sense that we were forced to be brave, in the sense that we were forced to adjust our operations very quickly. And so has everybody else. And it's actually turning out to work. So for our customers nowadays, we have great meetings using Zoom or Teams. We're seeing great participation from our customer side. You know, in the old days, when you went to the office and met the customer, maybe 2 guys showed up. Now we can easily have 15 people showing up at a sales meeting because it's so easy to participate. So I really hope that'll continue also when we get out of the crisis. Of course, also because it saves a lot of CO2 that we don't have to fly around the world all the time, right? So I think that I really hope we can learn from that as an industry. There was a bit of, we saw some decisions being postponed when Corona hit, but we're also now seeing those decisions being made in this environment here. It's almost becoming business as usual.
So I guess big picture, how do you see COVID-19 impacting the marine industry?
Yeah, so the shipping, we will always need shipping. I mean, I don't see that changing. And in fact, the Corona situation has shown us how important the supply lines are. So I would hope that the shipping companies experience that they get better rates because they do provide an essential service to the world. So hopefully that'll manifest itself in customers actually paying more for that important service. As a shipping guy, I would like to see that. I think it has put attention to the way we manage and treat our crews because they have had a tough time. I mean, they are already having a tough time on board those ships for many months sometimes. And now not being able to get off and go home to your family, that must be extremely hard for them. So it's, in that sense, I hope we will also learn, right? That there's actually some people here in the front line who are doing very important work. So better rates, and then maybe a bit better terms for our crews. That would be good outcomes, in my opinion.